Hello, awesome females. This is Tami Bonnell, and I am so happy to be here. I only wish we could end up seeing each other in person. It's such a great group of individuals to get together and just lift each other up. And especially Bernice Ross, thank you so much for continuing to do this. And hopefully next year we get to do it live. I know I am talking to a group of professionals, and so many have reached your highest heights. So I'm not assuming that I know anything more than anyone else, but I thought I'd share some of the things that have been really working for me, and really more of it with the mindset and the focus, and then just a few things that are working. And maybe you pick up one or two that you take with you. But this is all about focusing on the solution. I find if I focus on the solution and not on the problem, I come up with more solutions, right? And so when I think of being the solution, I'll give you a few great examples. One, Freddie Mac. I sit on a National Diversity Leadership Inclusion Council, and we're trying to make it so that everything is fair for fair housing, fair income, all the way across the board, fair representation on stages, all those kind of things. And they were really concerned about income. And so they're asking themselves effective questions about in what way can we level up the playing field on making sure that we have fair income, and instead of 68 to 70 cents on the dollar, that women are making the same income, that people of color are making the same income. And so by focusing on the solution, they actually came up with a great idea, and they are actually putting out a job, what that job entails, what the qualifications need to be, and they're not asking people what their prior income was. So they're not basing it so that they'll get $1 or $2 more an hour. They're actually basing it on what that actual current job pays so that they can level the playing field. They came up with a solution, right? When we look at where issues are, I look at so strongly with technology, implementation is the biggest issue for all of us in real estate. If we look at the National Association and you look at how many people have an active bio and active database, a headshot, a bio, an active database, and a system in place, the numbers are fairly weak. So, knowing that, we focused on how can we get more people to do it and more people to implement it. And so I actually hired somebody to be the solution. Annette Anthony, our Vice President of Technology Engagement, teaches brokers and agents while they're sitting there with their device, because we realized a lot of them didn't have the knowledge, didn't want to be embarrassed. And now they can be taught. And now that they're taught, they realize it's simple, user-friendly, and they're going to continue to use it because they realize that it's going to generate more revenue. But always about focusing on the solution. So when I focus on the solution and I look at those examples, there's some standards that are in place here. There's some consistencies that are in place. So 1 minute of preparation saves 100 minutes of stress and anxiety. When you're looking at being the solution, you also look for opportunities. Where are there opportunities for like a solution of creating more business, getting more listings right now, might be putting in more brokerages, whatever it is for somebody that I need to look ahead, and I need to know exactly where things stand to see where there are potential opportunities and even potential things to run into. So you want to know what the 30,000-foot view is in your field. So that world view, that North American view, that big picture. And then you want to know and have a view. Those are usually websites, news type things, Wall Street Journal, that kind of thing. And then that's the 30,000-foot view. Then the 2,000-foot view, the entire state or province that someone represents, and then street level, and then that own individual. Having all of that accurate knowledge and data helps you to be a really good forecaster and prepare in advance, so that when people are looking for a solution, you have enough information and you can be amped up. I find for the national view, the 2,000-foot view and the street level view, it really pays to have allies out there. You can't be all things to all people. So having allies that work on the business, not in it, coaches, title companies, appraisers, home inspectors, mortgage companies, insurance companies, they can tell you where there are holes. They can tell you where there might be a window of opportunity. Give them value, add value to them, and they'll absolutely add value in return. So now you have a bigger, clear picture. And a lot of times when there's a few missing holes, when you fill them in, you can find a solution to a problem that you might have right now. It might be needing to do more business. It could be anything, but you get to fill in those gaps a little bit with those allies. I stay in touch with mine and I recommend starting off with about a dozen. I stay in touch with them every 4 to 6 weeks. I make sure I add value every time I have a conversation. And so they want to do the same. They want to do the same in return, right? Finding out what's really important to them, where their dreams are, and helping them achieve them will definitely help them to increase paying attention to you. Then it's about asking effective questions, right? The difference between effective and efficient. Efficient is doing things right. Effective is doing the right things. So we want to be as effective as humanly possible. So asking those effective questions: in what way can I? In what way can I bring more business? In what way can I find a solution for this? What is the answer to this specific question? I find if I ask myself questions before I go to bed at night, a lot of times my subconscious goes to work for me and starts to answer some questions. It might be just somebody that I should be having a conversation, having a phone call with that can find a solution, or it could be that I just get a great idea. And so I always keep a pad and paper by my bed. And when I get an idea, I write it down. Solutions are also about empowering others. You know, I have a rule. If problems come up to me, and it doesn't matter if it's within an office, within a region, a couple of offices together, or what the circumstances are, I focus on, look, let's set up an appointment for all of us to talk and see each other live tomorrow. That might be a Zoom call. It might be FaceTime. It might be Google Hangouts. It doesn't matter what it is. I do want to see their faces so I can see expressions if at all possible. And let's come to the table with some solutions. And I'll tell you a couple things that happen out of that. 70% of the time, because I'm talking and using the right words that work, right? We're going to collaborate. We're going to come up with solutions. We're going to brainstorm. 70% of the time, they find a solution themselves. I don't even have to think about it. Boy, is that a relief, but I just empowered them so that they're going to solve the problem the next time. And the other 30% of the time, we all come together with ideas, and you can actually catch them doing something good. You can recognize it. I set up some ground rules: no personal attacks. Everybody come with solutions, and everyone gets an opportunity to be heard. That really does make a big difference. And never forgetting, I remind them time to time so that they stay empowered, because they're going to run into struggles here and there as time goes on. I remind them, remember when you had the solution for that issue? Remember when you came to the table and it actually solved an issue and so many people pulled together? And the more I do that, the more they are empowered and realize they can do it themselves. You don't want to fish for somebody and keep solving problems, and that is a problem in this industry. Keep solving problems for them so that they're not empowered to do it themselves, because you're just going to keep building up somebody having a need. And I'm a firm believer that leaders belong building other leaders. So reminding them of their successes definitely helps. Your mindset and their mindset really matters. So for me, I take 120 seconds before I go into a meeting like that we're focused on solutions. Doesn't matter what it is. Sometimes it's a good problem to have, right? That you're solving, that you're growing so fast. And so we need to put systems in place. It doesn't matter what it is. But I close my eyes and I take 120 seconds and picture how I want it to turn out. And most of the time it turns out the way that I think about it. I remember, how do I want these people to feel? Mindset is 4 times as important as what the activities are that you do, because you're going to bring that feeling to the table. So I focus when we're there on targets, tactics, and timelines. You want to accomplish this. This is how we're going to do it, and this is what we're going to do it by. But when you tie it to emotion, when people are passionate about something, they'll really stick with it. So when I tie it to emotion with somebody, December 31st, 2021, we've accomplished X, Y, and Z. How do you feel? They can tie emotion to it. You can stay more self-disciplined when you tie emotion to it. And I've got a point to be able to keep pointing them back to. Remember how you felt when we talked about this and you were going to accomplish X, Y, and Z? Maybe it's filling an entire office. Doesn't matter to me what it is, but it's that key. I need to look at implementation. That's next on the list. And we can do implementation if we're going to add a new system in place, or we need to add something. And I'll give you a great example. Or it could be somebody that we hire that's going to implement. My perfect example in technology, of help with the details of getting people to implement technology. We have a priority at exit for leadership. And that made me hire a director of leadership and make sure to actually create that role. It was somebody that was working with us already that was already kind of doing the job before they got the job. But that person teaching everybody how to speak well, because he or she who speaks leads, and putting on leadership events all of the time to keep raising everyone's leadership lid, that was from a hire that now they have control over pulling it together. It's so important for all of us. And I find that especially in these crazy times, it's really important for us to share more of what's working. Share the things that are working, share the wins, and do everything in our power to give other people credit as much as humanly possible. If you build people, profits will follow. If I just focus on the bottom line, I'm not going to win every day. And it's not going to go the way I want it. But if I focus on people and getting more and better out of each individual and having the right people on the bus, profits will definitely follow. Number 7, empathy is a strength. And I know so often it's hard for people to have that picture in their mind, but the more I understand someone else and the more approachable I am, that I'm not having sympathy for you, I'm not bossing you around, I just have a feeling for where you are right now, the more you're going to get that person to really want to be loyal and really want to stay on your team and be part of, because that's the key, they want to be part of it. Immediately after you solve any issue, you come to the conclusion and you have a solution, ask yourself, what worked? What could we have done differently? And how do we prevent this specific issue from happening again? How do we make this a permanent solution? And a lot of times they're not. A lot of times you have to be fluid, right? But asking those questions so that you know, maybe this is something I need to revisit again. But my most important out of all of that is, what did everyone learn? Because I think that what everyone learned is a huge, huge priority. So, tough conversations actually strengthen relationships if you do it right. And so us focusing on being part of the solution, not allowing people to belabor what isn't going right, and let's focus on the things that are going right and how can we do more of that, and how can we go in that direction, will definitely help them. It builds better leaders for us to be able to have a good, solid conversation and have solid, constructive conversations. I've been part of a lot of things over the last while with diversity and inclusion, part of it because of belonging to that board, but even just where we are right now. And so often, and I understand and I have empathy for how people feel, that there are people that kind of want to rehash the hash. But if we have so much time in a day, and it's okay for people to be heard, don't get me wrong, but if we have so much time in a day, if we spend that time focusing on a solution, we'll empower others, we'll actually change the chemistry of a relationship, probably change communities along the way. And, I know for me personally, I believe that a CEO's job isn't just about the bottom line. I believe it is really taking serious responsibility for your people. And this is a great way, at least I found it a solution to help me grow. I hope you picked up 1 or 2 things. And I really look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.